Hallelujah. Don't stop. Hallelujah. Come on and open up your mouth and give God some praise. Come on and open up your mouth and give God some praise in this place now. Come on and praise God like you know you got the victory. Come on and praise God like you know you are an overcomer. Come on and praise God in this place like you know you are a conqueror. Come on and praise Him like you know you got the power. Lift God up like you know you are awesome. Lift Him up like the devil is a liar. Come on and give God your best praise because He didn't already worked it out. Hallelujah. Glory be to God. Thank you all. Thank you all. I am so excited to be here in this place. I tell you. I give honor to God who is and will forever be the keeper of my soul. To the great man of God of this house, Pastor Drew. I tell you something. It's such a blessing to be in the presence of great leadership. And I thank God for it. To the beautiful on the inside, just as she is on the outside. His helpmeet. Our First Lady, Lady Living. I thank God for you both. And last but certainly not least, to my BFF, my right hand man, my whole lover friend, my husband. I thank God for you. When I was told that I was going to be bringing a message, I thought to myself, oh Lord, help me. And then God immediately gave me the topic in which He wanted me to speak on. And the interesting part of it is last week as Minister Mimsy began to speak and gave her message, I learned that we both had the same exact title. And when I say the same exact title, I mean word for word. Each word was the same. And so we know how old Satan works, right? He began to try to plant seeds of doubt. Well, you can't do the same thing. You got to switch up your message. Nobody's going to want to hear the same thing next week. So I remember turning to Minister Nancy, and her words exactly was, keep it. That's confirmation. And so then it hit me that God put it on her spirit. God put it in my spirit because it needs to be in y'all's spirit. So many of us are struggling with this thing and we need to hear it. So I truly believe there's going to be at least one person that's going to be blessed by this message because I'm telling you, in preparing for this message, God has blessed me already. So I will be coming tonight from the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verses 14 and 20. Please stand for the word of God. And the word says, after burying Jacob, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had accompanied him to his father's burial. But now that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers became fearful. Now Joseph will show his anger and pay us back for all the wrong we did to him, they said. So they sent this message to Joseph. Before your father died, he instructed us to say to you, please forgive your brothers for the great wrong they did to you, for their sin in treating you so cruelly. So we, the servants of the God of your father, beg you to forgive our sin. When Joseph received the message, he broke down and wept. Verse 18, then his brothers came and threw themselves down before Joseph. Look, we are your slaves, they said. But Joseph replied, don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. May God add a blessing to the reading and the hearing and doing of His holy word. Now, I need some crowd participation. Can y'all please repeat this after me? I am in the right place at the right time. Now, how many truly believe that you are exactly where God wants you to be? Come on now, how many really believe that your circumstances, your situation, they are not by accident, they were planned and very well thought out by God Himself. So my title for this evening is, There's Purpose Through Your Pain. Now, as I began to study the story of Joseph, I realized it's a perfect illustration of hurt and pain. Joseph, he had a roller coaster of a life story. Okay, his brothers were jealous of him because they felt as though his father showed favoritism to him. Okay, so they were jealous, and in their jealousy, they conspired a plan. They went to their father and told him that he had been killed by a wild animal, when in reality, they sold him off to slave traders, okay? So he sold off into slave traders. I can just only imagine how Joseph felt, to be deceived by his own blood, his brothers. That had to be painful, right? But God. That had to be painful, right? But God. So here Joseph is. He's enslaved. And though he had earned the trust of his master and that he was allowed to work freely in his home because he trusted him, the lies of his master's wife placed him into prison. Joseph can't seem to catch a break at this point. He's already been betrayed by his brothers. He's sold into slavery. And just when he thinks things are getting just a little bit better, they get worse. Now, I'm sure there's at least one person in here who knows what it's like to have felt like when things are getting better, all of a sudden you find yourself right back at square one. Square one. So just as if Joseph had not already gone through enough, he winds up in prison. And not only that, y'all, he winds up in prison for a crime that he didn't even commit. Okay? Joseph probably felt as though every time I get up, I'm knocked right back down. He probably felt like, here we go again. Or maybe even like, Lord, when is enough gonna be enough? Now, we all have been there before, feeling like there's always one thing after another. As much as I'm a good person, why do all this stuff keep happening to me? Trouble just always seem to knock at my door. Somebody say, open up the door. Open up the door. That's right, now, we have to get to a point where we start embracing our difficult times. We have to get to a point where we start embracing our hardship. We have to get to a point where the enemy throws things at us and we look to him and we smile. A big old Kool-Aid smile because we know that God is going to bring us out. Okay? Somebody say, open up the door. It's all a part of God's perfect plan. So here Joseph is. He done been betrayed by his brother. He's lied on and now he's serving a prison sentence. He's pretty much done hit rock bottom, right? But let me tell y'all how good God is. God proved his presence and protection over his life, that he allowed him to become friends with a prison keeper, okay? Now God may place you in the storm, but trust and believe he's not going to leave you there. He's going to give you exactly what you need to get out of this situation. So Joseph and this prison keeper, they become friends, right? And the prison keeper, he found out that Joseph is gifted. He has the ability to interpret dreams, okay? And so Pharaoh at the time, he was really bothered by this dream that deeply troubled him, so much that not even his most wise men were able to decipher this dream. But because Joseph had that gift, he was able to decipher this dream. And that led Pharaoh to rewarding him with overseeing all the land in Egypt. Okay? So here it is, Joseph, he's out of prison. He's now holding this high position. And during this time, it was a drought in the land. And Joseph's brothers, they were all searching the land for grains and food because to keep their people from starving, okay? God has the power. I'm going to tell you this, and I know this for myself. He has the power to turn your situation around and make it to where those who have wronged you, those who have mistreated you, those who have lied on you and talked about you and abused you, end up needing your help in the end, okay? And I know that for myself. Brothers ended up seeing Joseph, they didn't even recognize him. I mean, he wasn't this little boy they had last seen. He had grown, he had matured. He was this prominent Egyptian man. Pretty much he was different. And that's exactly what happens to us. God takes us through the wilderness. It's a purification process. He takes us through the wilderness, and when we come out, we don't come off the same. We look different, we talk different, we act different, we are different. So at this time, Joseph, he's different. So once he revealed his identity to his brothers, they were greatly remorseful. I mean, to the point where they begged him to forgive him. But guess what? Joseph could have turned and said, you know what? You did me wrong, so I'm cool on you. I'm going to seek revenge, or, get away from me. I don't want to deal with you or whatever. He didn't say that. Joseph forgave them. He forgave them all of his years of suffering and steadfast reliance on God. It not only brought him closer or brought about a reunion with his brothers, it allowed him to be in this high position where he was able to save a nation from starving. No matter what it looked like, Joseph knew the promises of God and he held on to those promises. He did not give up even through the pain. He knew that God had a plan for his life, y'all. And this is exactly how we should approach situations that we encounter. I mean, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it seems like. I don't even care what the enemy trying to tell you. You got to approach this thing like God has already delivered you from. We all are going to experience pain and suffering in our life. No one is exempt to it, okay? But, quite naturally, we want to deal with pain. We just want to numb it. We want to avoid it. We run away from it. We just don't want no parts of pain at all. However, it's very important that we realize why God allows us to go through pain. For instance, let's take Adam and Eve. So once they sinned and the sickness and infection of sin came into the world, God said, "Cursed is the ground for thy sake." Now, God didn't say, "Cursed is the ground for your punishment." He didn't say for your punishment. He said for thy sake. In other words, for your welfare. Now, you might be wondering how God cursing their ground is beneficial to them. Well, look, I'm glad that you asked. The worst thing could have been for them to live in paradise with a sinful nature and be immune to pain. Now think about it for a minute. Imagine going through life not even knowing that you're in pain or not even knowing that you're living wrong or doing something wrong. Think about it for real. This world already messed up. It's already jacked up. It'll really be a hot mess. It's important for us to experience pain because it's essential to our growth process. Okay? There's a purpose for pain. Number one, pain protects. Okay? Now let's take, for example, when you have a healthy person and they injure their leg, they quite naturally develop a limp, okay? The limp is there to tell them, don't put no weight on their limp because you're going to make it even worse. You're going to make it hurt even more. Then we can look at a person that has leprosy, right? They don't know that part of their body is, they can't feel the pain. It's numb. They may pick it, they may scratch it or whatever. They're causing it to be more harmful because the pain isn't there to remind them or to protect them. Pain's value is too great for us not to experience it, okay? It's too great. Number two, pain unifies. It has the capability of not only bringing us closer to one another, but also bringing us closer to God. Sometimes, I'm going to tell you like this, sometimes it takes for a person to go through something drastic, something painful for them to turn to God. And I know this. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 12 and 26, when one member suffers, every member suffers. We are drawn together in our suffering. Number three, pain corrects. It tells us that something is wrong. If we did not experience pain, we wouldn't know we were sick. We wouldn't even seek the answer to even fix our problems. We live in a generation right now that rather than dealing with the pain, we want to seek a sedative. That's why you see so many people addicted to drugs and alcohol because they want to run from the pain. So they turn to those things as a coping mechanism. When in reality, we need to stop avoiding the pain. We need to deal with it. We need the pain. When you find yourself in your valley, we don't even know that we have hope in our valley. We just need to know how to tap into it. And the greatest example is the Word of God. It is Jesus. For example, the Word of God reminds us that He also suffered. And this means He suffered. He understands our suffering. He understands everything that we go through. He knows exactly how we feel. So much that He came to earth and became a man so He can understand and have compassion for us. So here we are. We already know the purposes of pain. To protect, to unify, and to correct. But what does God do with the pain? He uses it. He uses our pain in various ways. Number one, for our good. Jeremiah tells us in 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." Our pain reveals God's purpose for our lives. Our character is shaped by our difficulties. Our character is shaped by our adversity. Our character is shaped by our hardships. Our character is shaped by what we experience, our painful situations, our trials, our tribulations. We are shaped, we are made. Just like when you go through the fire, you're going to come out as pure gold. God is making you in the process. We have to embrace it. It's for our good. Trust me, I know it's for our good. Their own struggles. God strengthened my faith. He allowed me to rely more on Him, and He ultimately changed me. So I know this for myself. Listen, if I don't tell y'all anything else, if nothing else that I say tonight stick with you, realize this and let this stick with you. Your pain is not in vain. God will never waste a hurt. Trust me. He will never waste a hurt. Number two, God uses our pain for His glory. Difficult seasons are meant to point others to Jesus. He intends for us to tell tell everybody about his faithfulness and how he showed us compassion while we are going through our wilderness and how he brought us out. It's so he can receive the glory. It's not about us. What we go through ain't about us. It's about God receiving the glory. Number 3, he uses it for someone else's hurt. Our pain, like I said, is not always meant for us. It's also meant for someone else's benefit. It may be to encourage someone who may be going through the same things that you've gone through. 2 Corinthians 1:4 tells us he comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. God recycles hurt. I remember reading a while ago when I was going through my wilderness experience. If it wasn't for those who had been in ditches, how would those in them now ever know how to get out? Those words are so true. In other words, who can better help somebody than somebody who's already gone through? Our pain is meant to be shared. It's not meant to be hidden. Our testimony is ineffective when we are silent and when we sit on it and keep it to ourselves. I'm going to tell you like this, the very hurtful thing that you're going through right now that you are ashamed of in your life and resent the most can turn out to be your greatest ministry and help other people. I'm going to tell you what I know. It's time for us to stop being ashamed and start being shameless. Our stories, as busted up as they are, as messed up as they are, as jacked up as they are, God is using them. He's using them. They are a vital role in us getting to our destiny. But get this, our testimonies are not only intended for telling, right? I mean, what's good just to tell it if it's not gonna, permeate and really change and do anything. It's meant to have legs so they can help change the lives of other people who are hurting. This is called redemptive suffering. Redemptive suffering is when you go through a problem or experience pain for the benefit of somebody else. When Jesus died on the cross, for instance, when Jesus died on the cross, he didn't deserve to die. He went through that pain for our benefit so we could be saved. It's not always about us. It's sometimes about somebody else so they can be saved. Take me for instance. You're looking at a woman who has gone through the fire. And when I say gone through the fire, I wanted to give up. You're looking at a woman who wanted to throw in the towel, who almost lost her mind. I mean, I went through hell and high water, y'all, and most of the stuff that I went through wasn't even about me. It was to save and deliver my husband. I'll be honest with you. I dealt with being cheated on. I dealt with being lied to. I dealt with being publicly embarrassed. I was this close to signing the divorce papers. I was even mistreated, disrespected, harassed, lied on by my husband's family, and even been betrayed and mistreated by my own family. But God said, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. The enemy literally tried to take me out, y'all. 2016 was the worst year of my life, but it also turned out to be the biggest lesson of my life. And what I learned is that we are going to face trials. There's no way to avoid it. But when there is an anointing on your life, the enemy is threat. And because of him being threat, those attacks are going to be more frequent. Those attacks are going to be more intense. I am a living testament that your worst storm can turn out to be your greatest testimony. God not only brought me out, y'all, he gave me a completely new life. My mindset is different. My talk is different. The company I keep is different. The things that used to bother me don't even bother me no more. He restored my marriage. Let me say that again. He restored my marriage. And my husband is different. He restored my marriage. And my husband is even different. I'm walking in my destiny, y'all. And it would not be possible had I not gone through what I gone through. What I was most ashamed of, God used for my good. What once embarrassed me, I am now confident about. I can walk with my head held high because I know who I am and I know whose I am. I'm telling you what I know for myself. Rejoice in your trial. Don't be ashamed of what you've gone through. Share it with others. Not only is it going to be a blessing to you, but it's going to bless somebody else. The word of God tells us that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that be revealed in us. We are not promised a life without tests, but we are promised a God that will walk beside us in those difficult times. Revelation 21:4, it holds a beautiful promise. He will wipe away every tear. And death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain, for the former things have passed away. Whatever you're going through, trust in God's grace to be sufficient. Go to him in prayer. Get in his word. Rely completely on him. Hold on. Hang on in there. Be steadfast. Be unmovable. Be unshakable.